Hey folks, fam, today we're going to talk about can I get citizenship abroad? So what's been happening is commenters, people watching our lives on YouTube, if they've been attending workshops, what they're doing is they're asking about gaining citizenship in another country. To be honest with you, I understand why they ask or why they worded the question that way. Probably because, well, they were born a US citizen. It's a common reference point. And so you're a citizen now. Why wouldn't you want to be a citizen somewhere else? My question is this, though, because there's this piece of work that I've seen, and it is if you change your question, you change the trajectory of your life. It's about the questions you ask. So what if we change the question? Let's change it to, should I even consider citizenship abroad? Think about that. Because actually, you have other options. You could go with a visa, and oftentimes they're in the 90 days. Let's just deal with those time period. And of course, when you do that, you're going to have to make possibly visa runs. And then there's this thing called, and it depends on the country. It depends. You have multiple entry visas, and then you have single entry visas. And a single entry visa means you get to come in one time on that visa, and you want to be careful which kind of visa you complete the application. A multiple entry visa means you can enter into the country multiple times, all right? Here's some countries that have 90-day, or some of them have 180-day visas, right? So it's Botswana, 90 days, Costa Rica, El Salvador, they've got 180-day. You got Ethiopia, France, Italy, Kenya, Mauritius. Mexico has a 180-day visa. Panama, 180-day. You got Portugal, Qatar, Seychelles, South Africa, Spain, and Tanzania. This is not meant to be an all-inclusive list at all, just to give you an idea of places that have countries that have either a 90-day visa or a 180-day visa. Another thing to consider is an investment permit, which means basically that you're going to give money. Like in St. Kitts Nevis, you can purchase a visa for so much money. I forgot to look that one up, and I forgot how much it was. We were down there for a period of time. Wonderful country, great medical facilities, and just really nice down there. In fact, they were one of the first countries, if not the first, to have an investment type of visa permit. You can be missionary or / student visa, where you, depending on the country, you must prove what it is that you claim to be and show some documentation and paperwork, but that's another option. Of course, then there is a resident permit, which is another option available to you when you actually purchase a house or something and you gain residence and you fill out your application. You're showing you have a place to live in, I guess, sustainable income that you can take care of yourself. There's the business of renouncing citizenship. Countries can take away your citizenship. So don't ever think they can't do that. We walk around and don't realize it's a special privilege that's bestowed upon us, but it can also be taken away. So that's something to always have in your mind. But let's look at, what about renouncing US citizenship, since most of our viewers are coming from that area. It's going to be different per country you're coming from, but at least from a US point of view, you need to understand, what does that entail? What does that involve? You're going to be giving up your rights and privileges as a US citizen. What does that mean? Well, the right to vote, to have access to government services, the ability to travel back to the United States without a visa. So if you were to renounce your US citizenship, you need to now fill out a visa application to get back into the United States. And yes, it is permanent. What is permanent? your renouncing of your citizenship. It's irrevocable, all right? And it cannot be undone. Let's look into that a little bit more. So, and also, it's going to cost you to leave the United States, to renounce your citizenship. It's going to cost you, at the filming that we're doing right now, it's going to cost you $2,350, and it's non-refundable fee. Okay, it's going to cover administrative processing and the request for a certificate of loss of nationality. That's there. So I already talked about the privileges you lose, and what you got to watch out for is you want to make sure that you have citizenship somewhere, because otherwise you become what is known as stateless. Okay, and you don't want that situation. You want to make sure you possess some kind of foreign nationality if you choose this route. When you become stateless, that means you have the protection from no government. And what's really wild is if you were to be deported from point C back, they might send you back to the United States and they don't have to take you, and then you're in limbo, just floating around or something like that. There's also the possibility of tax implications. In other words, where they say, wait a minute, your net worth is X amount and your income is above a certain threshold, and you still may need to file a U.S. tax return, where you're always going to be filing U.S. tax returns. But when you renounce it, it may trigger what we're going to get our last little bit from you in this thing called an exit tax, which is different than the $2,350 you got to pay. I already mentioned it's an irrevocable decision, possibility of deportation. It is only for the person who renounces, though. So if you have family members, they're not affected, only the individual who did it. Can you get your Social Security benefits after you renounce? They may remain, but you won't be able to pass on U.S. citizenship to your children after you renounce, okay? That gives you a little bit of an idea about this citizenship. So it makes deciding to get citizenship in another country tenuous. Why? Well, because on the world stage, which is shifting almost on a weekly basis now, the landscape around the world, things are getting tougher, where countries are saying, no, we're not going to allow you to have dual citizenship. No, we're not going to allow you to have multiple passports. It's something to really consider as you balance and juggle your options. That's why I said maybe we want to change the question to rather, should I renounce citizenship? Should I get dual citizenship? To why am I even considering it? What other options do I have? Here's another thought. Just because a country's popping, let's use Ghana as an example. We had a video, I think there were something like 500 individuals who obtained their citizenship. Wonderful. So you had quite a few US citizens in that group. They still retain their US citizenship, and they go for the dual citizenship, and they have citizenship with Ghana. All right, that's goodness. But ask yourself, can your stomach handle the risk of what's happening? Because sometimes when you're on the leading edge, which is sometimes called the bleeding edge, it's been called that because you can get cut. Ghana may say, wow, we got this influx, we're going to raise the price and now charge taxes and now put these fees on these people because they're our citizens, right? Sometimes it's better to wait and let that first wave go through, depending on what your stomach can handle in terms of risk and tension and so forth. Let that first wave go through. Let that country work out its policies, work out what its standard operating procedures are, what its regulations are, what its laws are, so that you can then decide, do I want this for me or do I not? Because that could be critical. To use an analogy, so I used to work for IBM, right? And we were selling mainframes, and I'm also putting software on these mainframes. And I remember speaking to my customer, and I was asking him if he wanted to go to the next software level. And let's say it's 2.0. And he said, no, I'm not doing that, Mark, because what's going to happen is on the 2.0 version, there's going to be flaws because there's always a few hiccups and bumps. And you let your customers find the flaws, and then you fix it with what we called patches, software patches. And then 2.1 has the fixes to 2.0. And so if you think about it, that's sometimes how they operate with your iPhone, with your Apple laptop, whatever it is. It's like, so he was telling me, no, I'm going to go with the fixes when those come out. I will then accept it. And I'm saying to you, you may want to wait until they've worked out some of the bugs and kinks. So I'm saying to you, you may want to work out or allow them, the country, to first work out whatever country it is, their policy, regulations, their bugs and kinks first, so that by the time you're coming in, everything's more smooth. We had a situation where in one country, there was the opportunity for an investment visa permit, all right? And what that meant was you spend X amount of money, and in this particular case, once you do that, you now qualify at no additional cost to be able to get the investment permit. However, the policies and procedures weren't in place yet to be able to do that. So in this particular instance, the offering was being made, but there wasn't any policies and procedures in place or people in place to be able to administer the situation, and so that we could fully take advantage of it. And that's what I mean when I say you might want to wait. So the administrative infrastructure was not in place for us to fully take advantage. And so it cost us a little heartache in that area. And what I'm saying is you might want to wait, just as the customer I had said, no, I'm not getting 2.0. I'm gonna wait for 2.1. You might want to wait in a country like Ghana or some other, or maybe not. It depends on how you manage risk and how much your stomach can handle. Maybe you want to be a pioneer at the front end of it. All right. So think about those things. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments about this. What are your thoughts on citizenship in countries in Africa? Have you been to African countries and you've thought about it a little bit? All right, give us a thumbs up if you think that, yeah, I might look into still dual citizenship, or thumbs down. Nah, I ain't trying to do that. So those are some of the things to consider from a citizenship abroad. I think it boils down to the initial question: should I even consider citizenship abroad? We recommend you think about it a little bit. I've gone over some of the considerations, and what the deal is you have other options. We are currently under a retirement residence pass. So that means we're not making these visa runs every 90 days. We are not making visa runs every 180 days. If we're going to another country, it's because we feel like it. We just want to visit it. It's not because we have to exit the country. Also, by having a retirement residence, it's good in this particular country's case for 2 years. We've been to other countries where we were able to get a 10-year visa. However, that required exiting every 90 days. So we're grateful and blessed to be in Tanzania, and things are operating well from that point of view. Other countries may offer a retirement residence where you have so much money in the bank, maybe like $1,500. I think Mauritius does $1,500, and you are able to then get your retirement residence. You don't have to be going anywhere. You're good. And I believe theirs is good for 10 years. So those are reasons why you should ask, should I even be getting a dual citizenship or an extra passport? At least know the pros and cons and what's going on there from that particular point of view. If you're interested in the kind of information we shared, and you want to discuss it, go into a deeper dive on this kind of information, we offer a workshop. We've got one coming up May 18th. We do them periodically. You can go to the link down in the description to register. If you want to know more about us, don't forget to visit our channel or our website, learn about us. on the AWM team. It's our family who help people who are interested in moving abroad. That's if you're interested in moving abroad, and I assume you are if you're watching this video. But you also can see there multiple testimonies, not one, not two, not three, not four, more than that, of individuals who have successfully gone through our workshop, and they're telling you, talking to the camera, what their experience was. All right, here's the best to you in all your travels, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.